Hello, everyone, and welcome to Heads and Dovetails. As I always say, people will get bored with this, with myself, Gill Harvey-Bush, and the lovely Jamie Hubbard. We were hoping to have a guest with us this morning, and I had said before that I thought he was our first guest, but actually checking back, he'll be our second guest, as we had the lovely honour join us a couple of years ago now. Anyway, unfortunately, technology and possibly a little bit of misunderstanding has meant that he's not joining us this morning, but will join us on the next one. So we're just building the surprise and the excitement, Jamie. Anyway, Jamie, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Good morning. I'm really good. Everything's really good. I've just told you off recording that I was bitten by a spider. I think the spider would tick on my ankle 2 weeks ago, and yeah, I'm taking antihistamines and things, which I've never really taken antihistamines. I've never. Have you ever done antihistamines?
I have done many years ago. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I was surprised. No antibiotics. She just
no,
said,
antihistamine.
and the important thing out of all of this, Jill, is I was sitting there in the hospital because I had to go to hospital 11 days after because it just kept getting bigger. The
Bigger.
area, the redness kept getting bigger. Um, and the really interesting thing, the most important thing I took away from what's happened is as she was making some notes, writing some notes down on a little pad, and she said, so date of birth. I said, and she said, so you're 60, yeah. And what medication? She'd got a pen at the ready to write down on a sheet of paper. And what medication are you taking, Jamie? And I said, none.
None.
And
Welcome
she
to my
looked at
world.
me, I know, and she looked at me
Aghast.
and she said, wow, you're doing well, aren't you? And I'm like, does that mean that
Hmm.
majority of people my age are on medication now?
Yeah.
No. So yes, that was interesting. I've also, and so I'm taking the antihistamine. Interestingly, she said take it as a course, take the whole packet as a course.
Hmm.
So here's the other thing, and this is typical me, Jill. I went into the supermarket, went to the pharmacy, showed this woman the writing, and it was doctor's writing. So you can imagine I couldn't even say the word. I couldn't even say the word. And I said, it's this chloro 4%. And she said, oh, okay, no problem. She goes over to the where all the articles
Counter.
are,
Yeah.
and she says, do you want Piriton or do you want Morrison's Own? And I said, is there any difference? And she gave me a little tiny head shake. I said, what's the difference in price? She said, the Piriton one, £8.60 something,
Hmm.
the Morrison's £2 something. And I said,
Hmm.
well, I'm not stupid. I'll have the £2 one, please. And she smiled at me, and the other woman behind the sort of desk thing where the pharmacy are doing their bit,
Yeah.
she smiled as if to say, "Yeah, the world's bloody stupid, and people will go for the name
It's the
because it's
label.
Pert.
Correct.
It's
Yeah.
the
Because
same
it's
ingredients."
branded.
I have done another thing, and you know what I'm like, Jill. I have done a number of ginger and since I've been put on this, which is only a week, pots of tea, ginger and nettle. It says that peppermint will be better, but ginger's fine. So I've got ginger to finish off, but it's the
Hmm.
nettle. So
Dried
I've,
nettle.
so yeah, dried nettle, and it made a difference. It's
Yeah.
made well,
There's so many herbs out in nature. I follow quite a few people on Instagram who are saying, this, and you can use this. And I've got two friends, Katie, who's a herbalist and trained in
yeah,
that. And she does lovely, or she did do her little business until her two boys came along of making tea, calming tea, relaxing tea, sleep tea, of all the different herbs. And my other friend, Dawn, and they'll often say, oh, you can use this for this, and oh, you can use that
mm,
for that. And you sometimes over the garden, I think, I've said to them both, I need to plug into your brain so I can download all the information you've got about all these plants. And it's amazing when you watch different accounts on
yes,
Instagram, how many different things they'll say, oh, you can look, this is in the garden if you've got this. And I keep thinking, I must have loads of this.
mm,
And I've got that and all the stuff that I've got in my garden that I don't realize I can use for
yes,
different things. But my
yeah,
memory, is not as good as it used to be. Let's put it that way. So, but I agree with you. There's a whole load of stuff, and people go for branded. I learnt about branding when I worked in the cardboard box factory. And
Okay.
I mean, we make what are called the outers, not the big cardboard boxes. There's a company called David S. Smith. We were known as corrugated products. So we'd make the outers that things like, well, tiny tears, never show me another tiny tears in my life. Those boxes and the Cadbury's, where all the chocolate is put in
Yeah.
a box, we'd
Yeah.
make those. And we had one account which was to do with food. And they made basically things like HP sauce and tomato sauce. And I went to the factory one day and they said, "Oh, do you want to have a look around, Jill?" Because I was taking some boxes over for our sales rep that needed to be delivered urgently. And I thought, "Oh, that'd be great." And I'm looking at 3 lines, production lines
Yeah.
of brown sauce being made. One was HP, one was some other brand. And I said, "Oh, you make all 3 brands?" And they said, "Yes." And I said, "So what's the difference between, for example, HP, HP, say Daddies, I can't remember the actual brands, but HP Daddies and the non-branded, say Sainsbury's?" And they said, "We only have to change one ingredient, a small amount, and we can change it." So they're all different, but we just change one
They could,
ingredient or the
so they could all
amount of one
start.
green.
Yes. So they could all
Yes,
start in the same place, and then
absolutely.
one diverts to have a different ingredient.
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me. Doesn't
So I
surprise
thought,
me.
oh, well, that explains it. I mean, there are some things that I think aren't quite the same. Some are very
Yeah.
thin when you buy a branded one. You think, oh, no, actually, I don't know if there's an unbranded Marmite, is there? I've never looked. I just go for Marmite, funnily enough.
I think.
Anyway,
Well, I think the supermarkets do their own version.
okay. I haven't noticed. Maybe I
Morrison's do.
just,
Aldi does.
okay.
I think a few of them realise that
I must look. It's just because I will go for the biggest jar of Marmite that I
the
can
biggest.
find. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Is that the criteria?
Yes. We are big Marmite eaters. So as we were saying, it is. What do you go for? But
Yeah.
things like paracetamol, people pay for prescription. You think this is crazy. The prescription is whatever they are nowadays, and
Well,
yet
the
you
last
can
time
buy
I
them
did it,
for 17 pence or whatever,
I know.
which is
Wasn't it? I think
crazy.
the last time I did it, it was about £9 10 or 20 or
Exactly.
30.
Yeah.
And in fact, when the woman said to me, the doctor said to me about this, said, "I won't write you a prescription. Just get it over the counter."
Yeah.
OTC. OTC. I was like, OTC, over the counter.
The gadgets,
Not heard
hobby
that
shop and
before.
things. No. Anyway, we were also talking, you were showing me that you're doing some new
Yes. So, yeah, so Lynn and I, wife and I, years and years and years ago, when we were courting, before we
There's an old word,
did all of this,
courting.
I know, but I'm old now, so I can say it, can't I? We went to Kilburn in Yorkshire, and we bought a Robert Thompson, Mousy Thompson. We went to the. It isn't a factory; it's a small workshop. I mean, this is a tiny village
Mm,
in a little valley, and he's the guy who carves mice on things. And there's a number of abbeys and churches around the UK that have got some Mousy Thompson um, mice in there. There's one not far from us, actually, in Stratford upon Avon, Illingworth. They've got 11. And I think Ampleforth Abbey, if you go to Ampleforth Abbey, apparently there's quite a lot there. So that's good. Anyhow, love the Mousy Thompson thing, and love the little mice that he carves. And each one is obviously they're handmade, so each one's different. But on different pieces of his, they are carved differently, so they don't all look each. You On flat things they're carved one way, on square lumps they're carved another way.
hmm
Sometimes they're proud on a flat part, which is a lot more waste, so that goes into the price. Anyhow, I bought this thing years ago, and I found a piece of wood out about 5 years ago and said, I'll copy that, but instead of copying it, I'll do the mouse coming around the board the other way. And I just thought, and one of my guys, Andrew, he's been carving mice, and he said a couple of times, you should get back on, you should do that. So yesterday afternoon, I'd got a bench free when my afternoon class was in session, and um, I just cut. I've got a square piece of wood, oblongish, and I'm doing a study of the mouse. So I'm not actually doing the whole board. I'm just doing the top quadrant with the mouse on it, and I drew around it, bandsawed it out. Used a molding plane to get some of the curvature on the edges, which was nice to do. And just in doing that and then breaking the job down into, well, this is the thing that is stopping it getting closer. Get rid of that bit next. So don't go straight into the details. Get rid of the lumps that leave you the
Hmm.
piece that is going to make the body. Anyhow, I've been carving that, but the Japanese, and I've been reading this book, which is Gambate. Uh,
I'm sure in a previous life you were Japanese. You love
yeah,
everything and anything to do with
I
Japan.
do, I do.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry,
They've
go
got
on.
they've got a thing where they say, and I don't know whether that happens over here with in the UK. Anyhow, they've got a thing where they say that as you're working your way, say, through an apprenticeship, you must copy a master. You must copy a piece of their work, whether it's to scale or not, whether it's this, that, the other, but you must copy. And what that does for me, and I haven't read up on it recently, so, but what that does for me is it means that it puts you in the same frame, in the same manner as a master might be. How do you approach this? How do you get around it? Because the master would have to do it, and then you've
Mm.
got to copy it. So you have to go through the same thing. And if you do it wrong, well, you've learned from it.
Hmm.
So there's that. So I'm copying a mouse. I've done about 2.5 hours. I'm saying Jill a lot. It's looking pretty good. I'm showing the
It
camera. We'll get a
does.
picture of it.
Yeah,
It's 2.5 hours in. I can see me in another hour having it finished because it's not sanded down. You don't sand them down. And you leave all the little facets off the chisel where you carve away at. It might even shine at you a bit if
I
I'm a
can
bit.
see it. Yeah. But
Um,
you're going to confuse
but it's
people
good fun.
because 100 years from now, somebody's going to turn up on the Antiques Roadshow with that little piece of wood with that mouse on it, thinking it's a Mousy Thompson and worth a
Right.
fortune. And then the Antiques Roadshow man is or woman is going to say, "Well, unfortunately, no, this isn't a Mousy Thompson one. This is a copy
Well,
because of this. It's going the wrong way. It's this, and this." There you go.
well.
You're going to
Shall I
confuse
tell
them.
you?
Some person's going to be so disappointed. They thought they had an
True.
expensive. Not
Yes.
to
So,
say your work won't end up
a,
like that.
a student piece. Yes, it could be seen as a practice piece from
Mm,
the workshop, which
mm,
I should imagine practice pieces from the workshop. If somebody's practicing and learning it, I would insist that you put an axe through it.
right.
You can't like, don't leave the building.
Yeah.
Put an axe through it, or you put it on the bandsaw, chop it up.
Yeah.
That's what I would do to protect my brand. What I've done as well, what I haven't told you yet, is this lovely piece of wood is from a church piece I did a while ago, and it's from about 1910. As a piece of furniture made in 1910. So heaven knows how old this piece of wood is. But if somebody did think that, and then they could find out the age of the wood, they'd go, "Oh well, the wood's 1910, so it could be a 1920s, 30s piece of Mouse Thompson, unless it was a guy who knew who'd taken something apart." So what I'm planning on doing is writing on the back of it, and I will put my initials, put my stamp. I'll burn my stamp in a bit,
Yeah.
put the date, um, clean the back off because it's got some glue on it, and make it look pretty. But when I did my college all those years ago, I we had to do samples of things, and rather than doing samples of things, I did corners of tables to
Mm,
show finishes. And just doing the corner means you're not committing to a great big piece. You're committing to just a small study. And I suppose this is where I'm going on to. Some of my carving people, they do they are at the moment both two of them sort of biting off more they can chew. You see, and we have it a lot, don't we? We think that because we can do
mhm.
this, oh well, if I can do this, I can do that. There you go. Jill.
The reason I'm laughing is my willow. I decided, okay, my borders are getting much better. As you know, I've been practicing that. And I thought I'm going to attempt to do and learn another weave. There's so many different weaves out there. You
Yeah.
start with a 3-rod well or a 5-rod well or whatever. Then you have a chasing well, and then and so it goes on. And then you have pairing and you have French rounding. And I've been doing French rounding and I quite like that. And this is called, well, then you've got double French rounding. And then on top of that, you've got reverse double French rounding. So I thought I'm going to have a go at seeing if I can do reverse double French rounding. But unfortunately, of course, I have to stop start because it's in between clients, or
Yeah.
so I'm trying to keep the willow right, and the willow all takes different times. I'm using something called buff willow, which only takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on the weather, because that's the heat to soak, and then you mellow it. But of course, it dries out a lot quicker. So it's just like this nightmare that I
Oh,
started. But like anything, Jamie, until you kind of go all the way through, it's like you when you're writing a process down.
yeah.
So I was following what I was doing, thinking, yes, okay. And then you realize, no, this willow has to be a lot thinner. So I had a complete disaster, took all the double French rounding, took it back down to my whaling bit. When you get to a point and think, this isn't going anywhere. And I said to Clive the other day, I'm useless at the moment, but some of my seeds haven't germinated. I can't do this. I have one of those
Oh,
moments. So I thought, no, put it to one side, come back to it. I thought the easiest thing is I'm going to take it apart. I can
yeah.
see now I need thinner willow, so I need to cut the willow further up so that the willow is thinner. So that
Right.
meant the bit that was already bent. When you think, well, I can't reuse this, I thought, actually, I can. If I cut the bottom off, I then got the thinner willow further
Yes.
up. So that'll be
Yes.
about right. So off we go again. And then you realize I'm so busy concentrating on the weave. Then I
Yeah.
stop and look at it and think, the uprights are going all over the. Then you look, don't you? I finished the border. I have finished it because I think, like you say, you learn. And I think,
Yeah.
okay, maybe I should have attempted this with a willow that's called Dicky Meadows. Maybe I should have attempted it with Dicky Meadows. It's a much easier, it's a beginner's type, but I really like it.
Okay.
It's a much easier willow
Yeah.
to handle, to deal with. It's much more kind of forgiving.
Right.
And I thought, okay, if Clive, of course, comes out and goes, oh God, that looks amazing. Oh, look at that weave. And I'm like, no, this is awful. And then you pick at it, don't you? It's split there, and look at that. The two uprights are going together. But it's, as you say, you then kind of think, okay, next time I do it. And that's the learning process, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
sometimes when you have to kind of rewind it to go, okay, I can see that I would need stronger uprights or double uprights to be able to hold this weave, because you pull quite strongly
Yes.
one way and then you're
Okay.
pulling it zigzag basically. I'm trying to
Oh,
zigzag with willow. That's why it's called a reverse
reverse.
double French.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you weave one way and then you literally weave back, and then and you're just doing it over two uprights. So you get a real zigzag. So it's
Oh,
not all
wow.
the way around. You'll see. It'll appear on Instagram later. And that's when I just thought, I'm not going to beat myself up about this. This
No.
is a learning process. And this is me learning how can I do this better and learn the weave. I don't know what I did on the first bit. I've somehow wound it round twice. How did I manage that? But it's that process, as you say. And it's doing it bit by bit rather than going, okay, I can do this now. Well, let me try in my case, it would be, let me try
Yeah.
the hardest willow and let me try a new weave on the hardest willow. Actually, no, let's take it back. And you learn that process, and that I've got to keep much stronger look and eye on my uprights when I'm pulling. I mean, willow is really quite hard when you willow weave on the hands. So,
Yeah, I should imagine it is. And the thing is there, you're doing what I was talking to Andrew about last night, which is I because I used to have this joint
mm,
problem, I tend to be pretty good in managing doing some carving, which is quite heavy on the
mm,
hands, you
mm,
know, because the right hand is holding the handle, the left hand is guiding it, and
mm,
it's and sometimes choking the chisel and doing or mallet and hitting it and whatever. And I'm pretty good with knowing when to. And this is years, isn't it? This is
mm-hmm.
years of
Experience and
putting up with the problems with pain
mm,
and this, having the skill to do these things is put the tools down, walk away, put the kettle
yes,
on, go and check, make sure the building's locked up, whatever,
yeah,
do all that, come back to it. And then when you come back to it, fresh pair of eyes, you see where you're up to, you look at it differently. Whereas
correct.
you can get quite absorbed in the moment, go into the micro, and you're looking at the details, and then you don't realize that something's going not quite right, and then you stand
Mm,
back and you just go, oh, I've got some of the obvious wrong.
Mm.
which is what's happened with your things. But you don't know. I'll be honest with you, Jill. Your weave, willow weaving's great. So it looks.
No, wait till you
It,
see this one. But it's a first, and that's where I go, it's a first,
and
you
what's the
know, and
item going to be? What is it? A basket.
well, it's just a basket at the moment. I mean, it's not got a handle on it because I haven't got very good at handles yet. That's another thing I need to practice. But there's lots of things that I want to try and make.
Yeah.
I want to do obviously a few more dragonflies. I'm thinking about a penguin using some rope to do a penguin. I know, I give myself some interesting tasks, Jamie. A couple of requests for some snowmans for winter. That I did my snowman made
Okay.
out of willow and the lovely wool because I'm wanting to do
Yeah.
a bit more with wool. I'm
Nice.
also wanting to practice with rope and willow a lot more. So tying it off with willow and doing what's called whipping. A friend of mine's family were rope makers and they used to
Okay.
do, and I always used to think, how do they wind the rope around the handle, you know, of because you can never see the other end. And Buffy, my lovely friend Buffy, she's given me some needles that were her dad's and had a couple, and she said, this is what you need, and this is how you do whipping. So I want to see if I can do that. And rather than have solid handles on my baskets, I want to put rope handles because
Oh,
again, you
nice.
can the handle will drop down, so therefore it's much easier to store because part of the problem with some willow baskets, obviously you've got
Yes.
that very upright handle, which you
Yes.
can't fold down.
No, and you can't put one inside another and do that sort
Correct.
of thing.
So
Yes.
I'm going to set myself the task, she says, of making three baskets that will all
Yeah.
fit inside each other with rope handles.
Oh, nice.
Well, it might not be, Jamie.
Oh, no.
But I think it's important, as you say, you then, in some ways, you reverse engineer what it is you need to look out for right at the beginning. So you kind of go, okay, so when I've done this bit, I need to find much thicker stakes, solid
Yes.
stakes to take the reverse weave, which you don't think about. You know, it's that, you know, it's when you're finished or when you're going along, you realize,
And
no, I
as
shouldn't have used that. I should have done this.
and with experience
Mm.
and the thing is here as well is you're doing this as an amateur and
Oh,
I say
yes.
the number of times I say a week to somebody, have you got your pad? Have you got your notes? Where are you up to?
Yeah.
And there's no pad, there's no notes. And I'm and I I've actually got to the point where I've saved on eBay something like 30 pads this size, and it'll cost me this much because I actually want to give them a pad each and say, look, just write the blooming thing down because
Mm.
some of them will come to me and they're just like, I don't know where I am. I don't know where I left off. And
Mm.
I have to look at theirs. There's a number of people as well. I have to look at their piece, look at the evidence on that piece, like
Yeah.
it happened yesterday, and say, well, you've marked this up, you've marked that, turned it over, you've done, yeah, this is the next bit, this is what you want. You've got to play in that side. And
Yeah.
it's just the good thing is the good thing is, and as an amateur, you do that. It's the good thing is they're following the processes correctly. The sort of unfortunate thing is some of them aren't making notes of where they are. I've got one young lad who's, I say young, younger than me, who's very good at keeping his notes, very good at keeping notes. And it's just, yeah. And I'll tell you his job title later because he's amazing.
He's going to be like an engineer or something very detailed.
Something very good.
Yeah.
And he has to keep notes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's that going if you are going to go onto something more advanced. I mean, they see me do things, and I suppose with all this, doing the woodworking since I was 11 at school, and really sort of being the odd one out in the
Mm.
school, in the classroom or in the school, because I was more. I'm not going to say I was the best one there, but I was making better quality work. I was better quality pieces, more
Mm.
impressive pieces at an
Mm.
early age. Then I can just look at a piece of wood like this and decide which way the chisel is going. Not only because that's the problem. If this little mouse thing was stone, say Portland
Very
stone,
different.
chisel it from any direction makes no difference. You're just shaping it with a piece of in clay pottery. You push a tool in. If it's not right, add a bit back on.
Yeah.
No. Wood, I mean, that's all rubbish, really, isn't it? With wood, you take a bit too much off, you've ruined it. Sorry, mate. But you've got to know exactly which way to push the chisel before making the fault. And what I see with a lot of the guys is they're, I think they look at what I'm doing and think that
Do
they can
it.
do it like that straight away.
Yeah.
Whereas really it can take years to get that
Of
understanding of,
course.
I want a face on here, I've got to go this way with the wood because of the change in direction there or whatever. And it does take a lot. And when you get good at this, I mean, this little mouse here that I'm carving, I've been 2.5 hours on it.
Yeah.
It's my first one. um I've read it somewhere that it says it takes them typically 45 minutes to do a mouse.
Yeah. I
And I
mean,
was like,
it's
that's not bad going. That's good going.
absolutely because you're learning it. And I think that's the problem nowadays is people forget I'm coming to be taught. There's no way that I can be as good as you when I've been learning it for years and years and years. I mean, even
Yeah.
down to my coaching, that is pure experience where other coaches, because I have a
Yes.
chat with other coaches, how do you know that? How did you, well, that's just experience
Yeah.
of again and again and working with different people. And it's just as I've come to know it. And a new coach will go, God, how did you? And well, I started where you did. I can remember
Yes.
in coaching, you start with something called the GROW model, which is, goal, reality, options, and way forward. So you go back to, if you get lost, you go back to the GROW model. And obviously, I've been coaching over 20 years, Jamie. I've added to my toolkit. I've learned to adapt. I've learned my own way of working.
Yeah.
And therefore what works with one people, and I've learned how to look at different points of view and so on and ask the questions that hit the spot because you just know it works. And a new
Yes.
coach couldn't possibly, and I keep saying to the ones who've been coaching a couple of years, remember I've got 20 years, so probably, dare I say, hundreds of
Yeah.
clients
Yeah.
on you.
Yeah.
And it is just practice. I also
And
think when you're learning something or you're skilled, you, I wouldn't say I was skilled, but yes, I can make obelisks now, and I can make dragonflies, etc. And it's when you're teaching somebody else, I think it's always good to push yourself because then you remember what it's like to learn. So, for
yes,
example, I know how to do a three rod well, and I can do that. And I can remember thinking oh God, but it reminds me like learning this weave yesterday. This reminds me of when I first started weaving. So if I was teaching somebody, it's a really good reminder when you're pushing yourself at another level. God, this is what
yes,
it feels like to be a complete beginner. Does that make sense? Or that's
it
what it feels
does.
like to me. It reminds me what it's like to be a complete beginner in some
Yes.
ways.
And the other way I look at it is, which I think you'll agree with, is when you're teaching somebody, when you're showing somebody how to do it, you're reinforcing what you're doing, you're reinforcing what you're saying,
Mm,
and you're making sure that you're saying it right and doing it right. And
mm,
as that time goes on, you you just get better at it, but you also get to know. I mean, it can be down to some terminology. It can be down the way you describe.
hmm
For me, the way you describe doing something. If you feel, I mean, like with sometimes, I suppose in the past, I've felt I'm not getting good results. I'm explaining this to what I
mm,
thought was good enough. The results aren't clear. They're not coming back to me with. So it's
mm,
me. I
mm,
need to do better. I need to be clearer. So you'll do it. So just like I do with dovetails and some joints, a lot of the joints, to be honest, I will have a piece and I will show them exactly what I will do. So yeah, cut a couple of pieces of wood off for you, cut a couple of pieces of wood off for you. I'll do it. We do this first. We hold the knife this way. We do that. We cut that. Do it like that. And I think by rather than just saying do this and you've got to
well,
show, and people learn better that way.
I'm going to kind of come and agree and disagree. Yes, people do learn that way, but everybody has a different learning style. So there are
Yeah,
some people who just want to
yeah,
leap in and they'll just leap in and have a go, and that's how they learn. There are other people,
yes,
like you say, who want to watch and see what it is, and then
yes,
they can go away and do it. And then you've got another group of people who just like to listen to the description of what I've got to go, and then they'll go away and do it. And that's part of the skill as the coach is working out which do they prefer. and also which
Yes.
language do they prefer. So are they, actually, are they auditory? Are they kinesthetic, for example? And you change your language accordingly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
or, are they visual? If they're
And
visual, then seeing it is going to work. And one of my golfers that I was working with, he was definitely visual, and his
yeah.
coach was struggling at one point. And I walked the track as the mindset coach and with the other coach, and he was telling him what to do. And I said, no, 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 he's visual. Show him what to do, and he'll be able to do it. And he was just like, what? And I just said, show him, actually either hold his hands as well or show him what it is you want. Break it down, show him the swing, show him what you want to do, and then
Yeah.
he'll get it. And he did. And he
Yeah.
was just like, oh, it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, you've got to find the person's A, learning style, and B, language that they prefer. Do they prefer see what I do, feel what I do, hear what I do? That's the
Yeah.
order, that's the obviously that's the visual, kinesthetic, and auditory. There's a whole list of words that people will use, and it's amazing the difference it actually makes. So,
Last night was a success because I was messing around because I'd only got one person in last night. Two people were had booked the time away. So for me to just get on with this mouse, and Andrew said
it's
later on,
lovely.
he said it was great to see you. He said I didn't. He said, and I've been going on about this for ages for having another bench in the workshop, which I do need to get on with, where I can be doing things and they can see me
Mm,
doing things. He
mm,
said, I didn't realize just how much you are picking up a different chisel, a knife, another chisel,
yeah,
two taps with one chisel, put it down, pick up another chisel,
yeah.
two or three taps with that one, pick up a knife, cut this. He said, just to watch you do it. And I said, well, I'm thinking about what I'm doing. I'm thinking about results. I don't want to cock this thing up. I want it to be right.
Mm.
So I'm doing what comes naturally, knowing what the tools are like. I said, but can you imagine trying to explain to people how to do this? And I think this is
But
definitely the biting off more than you can chew thing. Yeah, I think,
yes. But also, I think that's when you're talking about your videos. If you're going back to do your videos, sometimes it's just nice to watch somebody,
yeah,
and then you can rewind
yeah,
and go, okay, he picked up that chisel there. Oh, yes, he did that
mm,
there. Oh, and you can then learn at your own speed, if you know what I mean. I know when you do your videos, you say, but also sometimes it's just nice to watch somebody, dare I say, it's just nice to watch somebody else working and see
yeah.
the skill involved, like you're doing with your little mouse. Just to sit and watch you actually make that and develop that without, me wanting to learn how to do it. I think is
Yes,
fascinating. So,
and going back to the videos, Jill, I think I've it's been over 100 days since I've done a video,
mm,
and I think it's because things have changed for me, and
absolutely.
I think I want to go back to a more natural way, a bit more
Mm.
back back to basics. That thing. Do you remember that?
Yeah, you see,
Um,
sometimes we complicate it.
and I think well that's what YouTube wants. This is the problem. They're pushing for do this video and do that, and they're still saying it. You need to be doing this. You need to be doing that. And I'm two fingers up to them, to be honest, because I don't want to be a YouTuber. I want to be a maker that somebody
Hmm.
finds and looks at and learns from the video. The
Yeah,
problem with a lot of videos out there is there for you to do something properly and film every detail, you wouldn't get the views.
exactly.
And I'm
Exactly.
not bothered about the views now, really.
Yeah. I
I
think
want to be
that's
sharing.
it. It's about
You,
sharing, what is it you want to do, as
yeah,
opposed to what is it that YouTube's trying to get me to do, which
exactly.
means, of
Two
course, I'll
totally
get
different things.
two totally different things.
Yeah,
And it's making sure that what am I chasing here? Am I
yeah,
chasing the money? Am I chasing the views? Am I chasing the subscribers? Or actually, am I doing this to what I want to do, which is something I'm working
documenting.
on. Yes, it's something I'm working on that I will get back to my YouTube channel and do more kind of short coaching type tips
Yeah,
that I think
yeah,
about when I'm out. Clive said, this is really good, when I put stuff on Instagram and your thought process. So I'll probably do a bit of that. Anyway, there we go, Jamie. So hopefully we'll have the guest next time, that we'll get it all worked out, and we can record with him. But hope your bite gets better and no serious lasting effects after the bite.
Yeah,
You never know, you might
it's
turn into
looking great.
Spider-Man next. So when I see you leaping up a tree, a ladder, we'll know what's happened. But you have a good couple of weeks, and I'll speak to you again soon. So thank you to everybody for listening. And we are getting more listeners, as I said, and we're getting close to 100
Yeah,
episodes, Jamie, would you believe? So
I
we won't be
know.
far off doing 100 episodes. So
Wow.
again, thank you to everybody. You know what you have to do, the subscribe and
Yeah,
all that stuff. And as you say, just from what we were saying, we do this because we enjoy doing it. And
yeah.
that's it, really, isn't it? And if you enjoy listening, great. Okay, you take care, and I'll speak to you in a
And
couple
you.
of weeks.
Cheers, Jill.
Bye.